Bitcoin has absolutely ripped to the upside over the past few days, and we need to talk about it. What's going on, guys? It's Crypto Dave here at Top Tier Signals, and in this video, I want to cover the latest price action for Bitcoin, but I also want to reinstate my thesis that I think altcoins are making for a really good trading opportunity here over the next couple of months. I think that we will see altcoins start to take market dominance back from Bitcoin and outperform against their BTC pairs. And as always, if you enjoy this type of content, if you like the analysis and the coverage of the market, you can always subscribe to our channel. Take the little bell, you'll get notified every single time that we post. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and start the discussion. So the first thing I want to point out here is the daily time frame for Bitcoin, and we have covered this very extensively on the channel. If you've seen our recent videos, you know that we were looking for a couple of basic things. First thing, we are looking at that 21 and that 50-day EMA cloud. We wanted to make note of a three-step trend reversal that we have in fact finally seen for Bitcoin after several months of choppy movement. First step, of course, is breaking above the EMA cloud. The second step is getting the 21 crossing above the 50. And then third and finally getting that retest where the range is now acting as support rather than resistance. We saw this last week and we have seen it once again, where just about a week ago, we retested the cloud for the second time since we've crossed above it, and it is holding confidently as support. So things are looking very good from that perspective. This is why we track the EMA cloud, because it gives us a clear directional bias. We got the three-step trend reversal, and now we can see that ever since that, we have been moving to the upside. We have also exited a very clear bear flag formation. We have broken out of this upper trend line, acting as resistance here. We retested it, acting as support, and we have now stuck in yet another higher high as we are charging away to all-time highs. So if there's any key takeaway here from the Bitcoin daily time frame, is that the market structure is very bullish and we are full speed ahead coming at that $73,000 level. Are we going to set a new all-time high today, tomorrow, next week? Who knows, but it's looking very promising. Now, if we revisit our last cycle and we take a look at the last time that we retested a previous all-time high, we can see that we had a very temporary rejection, a couple of days, about a week and a half of consolidation before finally breaking above and going very strongly into price discovery. This time has been a little bit different for Bitcoin. We set an all-time high earlier in the year in March, and we are now coming back at that level. So we could see a bit of a slowdown as we hit that $73,000 mark, maybe have a couple of days of sideways trading, a brief pullback. But generally speaking, historically speaking, every time we come back at that all-time high figure, we tend to break it very comfortably, and we tend to see a huge wave of bullish follow-through come right after the fact. So that is what I am anticipating. I think that we get back up to this all-time high range, and I don't think it lasts very long. I think Bitcoin has made a very decisive move here, and I think that we are ready to re-enter price discovery. So that's a quick thesis for Bitcoin. I want to go ahead and change the conversation to altcoins. Shifting the conversation over to altcoins, I want to start with Bitcoin dominance, and we covered this last week on the channel, but I just want to make note of where we are at in terms of Bitcoin versus altcoins. So in our last cycle, as Bitcoin was charging up to new all-time highs, we also saw a huge uptick in Bitcoin dominance. We saw Bitcoin leading the market, gaining that market share. The volume and the capital was starting with Bitcoin before that capital rotated into high caps, mid caps, low cap altcoins. And if we remember correctly here, this Monday, December 28th weekly candle, this was when Bitcoin dominance actually peaked. And here we can see on the USD chart, this highlighted candle, that is that same weekly candle on the USD chart. So we are waiting for Bitcoin to be confidently in price discovery. And as we can see, when we broke out to new all-time highs in the last cycle, it was about 2 weeks after that altcoins started to take control back from Bitcoin, where Bitcoin dominance saw its ultimate eventual peak. So taking those things into consideration, we can revisit what we are seeing here on Bitcoin dominance this time around, which is the same thing. We are watching Bitcoin approach those previous all-time high levels, and we are seeing Bitcoin dominance on an absolute tear, really for the past 2 years, but especially here over the past couple of weeks, just soaking up more and more market dominance. Ultimately, I do think that we see a peak for Bitcoin dominance once Bitcoin is in price discovery comfortably. I think that this gives you just a little bit of time to finish loading up on those altcoin bags, altcoins that are still consolidating, altcoins that are performing well, but perhaps not outperforming Bitcoin. I think that this is the perfect opportunity to make those picks because the risk is much lower, and we are seeing a lot of historical parallels to when it would have been advantageous to scoop up alts. In the last cycle, we are seeing it again on this cycle. And once again, the ideal scenario for alts has not changed. We want to see a peak for Bitcoin dominance followed by a sharp move down below the EMA cloud, where we would eventually backtest the EMA cloud and move lower. We would see that 21 weekly EMA cross below the 50 weekly EMA. Couple of steps, couple of things we're looking for here on Bitcoin dominance. There's no greater time to scoop up those altcoins than when they're at a discount. So this is really my thesis that as we move into the next couple of weeks, as Bitcoin makes its way into price discovery, altcoins will be a very ripe opportunity for people who are in this market. And I think that there are a lot of opportunities if you know where to look. Now I want to move back over to the Ethereum USD chart on the daily time frame and just pick on Ethereum a little bit as the leading altcoin in the space. But we can see that instead of rushing up to new all-time highs, Ethereum is still trading well within a range. We have a very clear level of previous support acting as resistance. We have a clear level of previous resistance acting as support. Regardless, we are trading within a floor and a ceiling. And so this is very typical of what you'd see in the early stages of a bull cycle, especially as Bitcoin is making its way towards price discovery. Remember, Bitcoin is charging up to new all-time highs. A lot of fundamentally strong coins such as Ethereum, Solana are still in those sideways choppy ranges. And that gives you a perfect opportunity to pick up your discounts while you are still consolidating before things ramp up and get absolutely crazy, because we know how intense an altcoin season can get. You want to try to get yourself in there when there is no noise, when things are still calm, the calm before the storm type of thing. But I just wanted to make note of the difference, that disparity in price action, whereas Bitcoin is going higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, charging its way upward. Altcoins are still building out that base, finding that floor. This is the same type of thing that we saw in 2020. And so guys, again, I think Bitcoin is headed into price discovery. We've covered it here on the channel extensively for weeks now. And I think that once Bitcoin does set in a new all-time high, it's only a matter of a couple of weeks before the altcoins will start to pick up that momentum, and you'll get several months of altcoins outperforming. But again, to maximize those returns, you want to go ahead and build those positions when things are silent. So I'm not going to continue to beat that point into you guys. I think you all know my thesis at this point in time. But guys, that's going to do it for this video today. Let me know what you think of Bitcoin's latest price action down in the comments. What altcoins are you stacking? When do you think we will be going to new all-time highs? And what do you think that new all-time high is going to be? There's a lot to discuss. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And guys, as always, if you check the link in our description, you can get access to our premium Discord. You will have access to over 20 premium trading analysts between stocks, crypto, and Forex, so you can maximize your profit potential, all while you learn how to trade from those same analysts, including myself. So guys, check out the link in the description below. And until the next video, catch you guys in the Discord. Peace.